What's up, Digimon Tamers? I'm here joined by my buddy Sergio, and we're gonna be doing a little something a little different today. We're gonna be doing a set review on EX02. If you guys have ever seen any of the set reviews done back in the day for Hearthstone, where they would go from 1 to 5 star ratings, we're gonna try to go through each card, rating it from 1 to 5. Some will be done with a little bit more in-depth analysis, and some will be just pretty quick. We might be commentating on 1 to 5 on art styles and things like that, but we'll try to get through the set in a as comprehensive way as possible and try to give you guys our thought process on the way. So what's up, Sergio?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me. Yeah, we're just gonna go through each card, see how it might change that BT9 meta.
All right, let's see. Obviously, we're doing this from a competitive standpoint, thinking what we believe to be like the good cards that will be shaping the meta. But there are cards here that obviously, for casual players, for collectors, for lovers of that Digimon, they do exist. So let's just get right with it. It seems like we have here a total of 6 new eggs, one for each color. And let's get started with Gigimon. When attacking, if this Digimon has one of that whole line's name, draw a card. So in my opinion, this seems like a solid 2 star card in the general synopsis of the game. If you're not playing a deck that revolves around Gi, Growl, or Galliman, in the Galliman deck, this will be your go-to egg, in my opinion, as red always suffers from the lack of card draw. So card draw in red, yes. If you're not playing Galliman, it doesn't do anything. So it's either a 1 or a 5. What do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, someone who's been trying out Gallantmon, this egg definitely helps you dig through your deck and get your pieces a lot quicker. It definitely needs it. If you're playing Gallantmon, you need that draw because the deck just does not draw by itself outside of Digivolve. So this definitely does help.
Yeah, red always suffers from the same problem, and that is card draw. So card draw in red, good. But this is very specific card draw, so therefore 1 to 5. Let's see here, Xiaomon. While this Digimon is level 4, it gets 1000 DP. That's a very interesting egg. For like for a blue champion rush deck, this seems like a thing. So let's think about the decks that are currently in the meta and will be in the meta in the next set for blue. We have Imperialdramon, which is dominating, and I feel like the draw cards in Imperialdramon, the Upamons, and the Demi Vs just outclass this card. And then we have Armor Rush. Again, this could be a good Armor Rush card actually, but does the DP really matter? Not necessarily. As they swing, they expect to die and switch armors. And then we have Blue Hybrid, which again, Kyoramon is its go-to. So therefore, at this exact moment, this seems like a 1 star egg. I don't think it'll see much play. There's a lot of 1k DP boosters in Blue Egg, and they just never get played. They just get tossed out for the draw cards. What do you think?
I mean, I only see this card being played in maybe Blue Hybrid as like the one of fifth egg. But even then, blue just has
It
way
has to
better
compete.
options.
Yeah, it has to compete with Ubamon and Blue Hybrid. So yeah, wow. If hey man, we might be wrong.
Definitely for right now, it's a 1 star.
Yeah, definitely
It's a
right
one
now it's
star.
look that card is in training, all right. But who knows? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe in the future this card picks up some steam. Let's see. Yellow, we got our boy Pokemon. Once per turn, you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, draw a card. So this is definitely made to be played in the Siakomon deck. Yeah, in that deck, it is a 5 star. That card is very good. I'm trying to think of any 2 cost yellow spells, and what comes to mind more than anything is Holy Flame. Very good card. But outside of the deck that's consistently playing a ton of 2 cost spells, this card seems like it wouldn't really do much. It's competing again versus QP versus Upa once again. Damn, Upa is good in so many colors, huh? So therefore, Poco is either a 1 or a 5.
If you're going straight into, I think is what's it called, Giacomo?
Yeah.
The yellow line. I mean, one the entire line has an inheritable where if you use a two option card, you draw a card, you minus DP, like you gain a memory. So like in the deck itself, it's good. Outside with what the meta is right now, it's definitely we're not playing this card.
Sounds about right. Sounds like the looks like the babies are very theme deck oriented. They're either very good in their theme deck or they're not playable. So with that in mind, I think I'm just gonna keep running through these babies as quickly as possible. I think I'm getting what they're trying to say. Your turn. When one opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw a card. Okay, so that's not necessarily a theme deck green card. This card is good in Shiva. It's good in Green Hybrid. It is literally just a card draw for green. So this card, in my opinion, I want to put this on a. I want to give this a 4 star. This card is pretty solid. This card seems like it depends what your green deck wants to do, right? And it also meta dependent. So in the metas that where like the DP matters, then the 1K DP boosters are better. Um, but this card maybe just be better than Pinomon because Pinomon forces you to attack, where this card is if you suspend, you draw. So it might take the place of Pinomon in the decks that are playing it. So therefore, I think this card, again, meta dependent. If you need the DP, those cards are better. But if you need the card draw, this card seems like a great option. Giving it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, this card definitely is going to replace some of the green babies right now, especially with the Gargoyle line that comes out this set, where you are just suspending your entire opponent's board and you're just drawing. So it definitely does help.
No, seems like a great card. Solid egg. All right. See here. Hotmon. While you have a black tamer and play this Digimon gains 1 KDP. So there are already other. Again, depends what your deck wants to do. This card is fighting for the current black eggs, which again, if they're deck
This card
related,
isn't even fighting.
yeah, like again, like I want to give it a 1 out of 5 just to start off, but the art is a 5 out of 5. Look how cute that guy looks, Jesus. But yeah, there's not much to be said. The 1 KDP, there's a lot of 1 KDPers in black. If you want a consistency card, they have better options. There are better options for your specific decks, like your X antibody deck. So at this moment, he's gonna get the 1-star treatment. But darn it if he doesn't look cute. And we'll go here and say Yamon. So Yamon, well, you have 10 or more cards in your trash, the Digimon gets 2 KDP. Yeah, it's fighting with one of the best decks in the game, Demi-Meramon, man. And Demi-Meramon, Pagumon. Does the DP matter? Or do you want to accelerate your game state? You know what I mean? So I think as purple, you always want to accelerate your game state. So therefore, Pagu and Demi will take its place. But 2K DP is actually quite the boost. I just don't think it beats out the other cards. So I'm gonna give this guy a 2 out of 5.
So I've played against the Beelzemon deck, and that 2K DB boost, um, it doesn't come up as often, more so because you have an Impmon that already gives you 2K DP, and when you're swinging with Blast Mode, you're already 17K. So an extra 2K, you're 18. Unless you're going against like Security Control that Zoe bumped up their DP by so much, you're just gonna play Demimera. Like this,
Yeah,
it's a good egg, but it's not. You're not replacing that card.
yeah. Again, um, you're fighting versus some of the best decks in the game. Accelerating the game state or DP boost, and I think every deck takes the accelerated game states because of just how fast this game is in general. So getting out of the eggs. Also, want to just say disclaimer: I have looked at zero of most. I obviously been spoiled on some of these cards, but most of these cards I have no idea. I'm just reading them for the first time. So let's go here into Mother D Reaper. All right, this card's a 5 out of 5. It is staple in the deck that it is played, and it's necessary for that archetype. Outside of that archetype, obviously you wouldn't play it. I forgot this is also an egg, so yeah, she a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, Mother D Reaper, you can't interact with it, you promote it, and you reduce the cost of your other Reapers, so or other D Reapers in this trade by 1 for everything under the source. So it's gonna be a fun meta when this comes out in a week.
Yeah, we'll get to the D Reaper cards. This card's a 5 out of 5. I'll give you my small opinion on D Reaper at the end, but yeah, 5 out of 5. Deviamon with that altar. Gosh, this art is already a 5 out of 5. Let's see if this card is good. Couple cards, add a card with place remaining cards at the bottom of the deck. Yeah. I mean, this card is consistency on play. It has a good deletion effect, which triggers your other inheritables. Card's a 5 out of 5 in the decks that it is played. And in the decks that it is not played, yeah, you would just play it in the deck that it's played. It's too
Yeah,
specific. Yeah, 5 out of 5.
it's very specific. With this set, they really went with the trio of the Gillimon, the Terrier, and the Renamon.
Renamon. Yeah. All right. So yep, easy 5 out of 5. A growl. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2K or less DP if you have a red tamer in play. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the when attacking effect makes this card a little bit less good. Even though this is again a theme card, I think this card's actually not that good. It's a when attacking, so you're gonna have to put yourself in a precarious scenario, and its inheritable is equivalent to the Guillemon. I don't think this card is that good. Even in the deck that it is played, it doesn't seem that good. Therefore, I'm gonna give this card a 2 out of 5 at best. 1.5 maybe. I don't know. Doesn't seem good to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the only reason like this whole line has that same text, so it is the
It's
card
like
by
a
itself.
redundant text, right?
Yeah. The reason why is just 'cause like you have the tamer. When we get to the tamer, it allows you to blitz. So like you can pop something, but at the same time, swinging as a 5K is not safe
Yeah,
in any
in
type
our
of red deck.
current meta, yeah, you lose your level 4, you're set back, and again, as a red, like being set back puts you really set back. You know what I mean? It doesn't replace itself. I mean, maybe you just play for the name. You just need Growlmon so that your cards don't whiff. Other than that, I don't see anything else. His name is a 5 out of 5 XD. So War Growlmon. I think one of your opponent's Digimon. Okay, this guy deletes up to 6 KDPs. Is 6 KDP an important threshold? What do you think?
It is because 6K. Like you get around the 5K blockers, the 6K blockers. Some decks are playing blockers. Some decks are playing searchers that are 5K. Um, like Mother, for example, and you can just pop.
Okay, I mean, definitely 6K seems like a solid threshold, and his inheritable is something that it's a text that I've never seen. The maximum DP of your effects that would delete increases by 1K. That's a very interesting wording, Bandai, but no, it seems really cool. I like this guy a lot. I want to give him a 4 out of 5. Very solid, but again, it is a when attacking, so it is kind of scary. But it's good because you have the tamer. You can blitz it to pass turn. You can choke to 1 if you're trying to do like evolve blitz, kill something. And he has 8 KDP, which is pretty
Yeah, the
safe.
the AKDP is what makes it safe on swing, and if you combined it with the baby, like you can blow up something
Yeah,
on
you
your opponent's side, draw a card, do damage,
yeah, you can blow up
and
like two things in an ideal world. You draw a card, you're choking. The only thing that I don't like, I wish you can give this guy 1K more DP. I mean, there's obviously it's a red deck, so you might be playing the Greymon, so this might even do 2 checks, kill 2 things. That seems like a pretty solid swing. I like this guy. 4 out of 5. Definitely 4 out of 5. All right, let's get to the big boy himself, Galliman. This Digimon gets 2000 DP, solid, on your turn. While this Digimon has a red tamer, the maximum DP of your effect, so increasing again. So you're increasing by a total of 3. So your inheritable deletions are now 6K deletions, very strong. And delete them. Oh, but that also increases this, right? Does he increase
yeah,
himself? So
yeah.
he
So he would
deletes.
yeah he would delete up to a 10K.
Hmm.
So he would have his effect 6, 7, 8,
And then the
and
War
then
Growl,
the
which is,
war
well,
crowd
9.
9K.
9.
Yeah.
I
So he
mean,
would delete up to a 9K.
that deletes Paildramon, so I like him. I think he's very solid. The fact that you can blitz him, they gave him the 4 memory, so he's very nice. The art is 5 out of 5. Obviously, in the deck that he exists, this card is a great Galliman as it sets up for your, the Galliman that goes on top of him, the level 7, which we'll get to later. But in the deck that he exists in, he's a 5 out of 5. And even in decks he doesn't exist in, for red, he seems like a solid red card in just like if you were trying to make like a good stuff red deck. And obviously pair this up with the OG structure deck Guillemon. Guillemon can warp into this guy, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, yeah, he can warp into him.
Yeah, no, this guy's a 5 out of 5. Super cool card. I like him a lot. And we have Magidramon, which always has some weird synergy with Gallimon. This card is also treated as Chaos Gallant when digivolving. Okay.
This is the Digimon that deletes up to 11K. If you have the War Growl
If you have
under.
the War Growl, hey, that kills a
Yeah.
level 6 for free. I don't know, man. This guy seems kind of like a monster. And he has like weird effects. So, like in the red aspect, he's like killing something on play, like on Digivolve. And then in a purple aspect, if you want to go for like a weird mill strategy, he also exists in that world. He also lets you Digivolve into purple level 7s, which would allow you to go into maybe like a Zword in your red deck, which you don't normally get to do. This guy's weird, man. The original Magidramon I thought was a super cool card when he came out, but he was also super weird and never saw play in the meta. So in terms of a meta standpoint, I'm gonna go with the original Magidramon, which sees no play, but still think he's a really cool card. I'm gonna give this guy a 1.5 out of 5.
I actually ranked this guy a little bit higher, mainly because of that aspect of popping an 11K, which is almost anything on the board. And then the on deletion, which comes up a lot in my playtesting,
Mm-hmm.
where you could take the trade and still hold advantage because now I have a tamer. and now I have my Galliman to restart up my chain. It's
Sure.
definitely
I
it's not
mean,
a four of, maybe a one of. But yeah, I give him like a three.
he's a side mega. Okay, fine. I can be tempted to put him to 2 stars, but we'll see. In the deck, I guess in his deck, he's a solid 2. Outside of his deck, God bless. And here we go. Let's see what Labramon's got to do with any of this. So Labramon, when attacking, if this Digimon has jamming, gain a memory. Actually, a good rookie. In this current scenario, sometimes we have these Vmons, right? And in our this guy actually might make it to its way into Imperial. Am I crazy? And it,
Um, because the XVmon, yeah, I mean,
how many times are you playing Imperial and you're like, wow, these rookies are pretty solid, but like I kind of want rookies with good inheritables, and you don't. All we have is our current Vmon that like restand, draw a card, or restand, gain a memory. This guy's when attacking, gain a memory because we're almost always swinging with the XV. So this guy definitely has some solid synergy with the XV, has a solid inheritable, and might make its way into some of the current meta Imperial decks. I think this card, and as you Joggerus, you gain more. Like you can XV, swing, gain a memory. You don't get choked by Psychemon anymore, so you can go 4 for the Sting, go into Pale, swing, gain a memory again. I think this card's pretty solid. I don't know. This card's looking like an Imperial, a solid 4 out of 5 in general. This card's looking like a 4 out of 5 to me. What a cutie.
yeah, when you go up the EX Vmon line, definitely, because you don't have to unsuspend and gain a memory. You're just gaining a memory right there. You Jogger's gain another memory. The only
Exactly.
thing The only thing that I see that might be bad about this card, where it might not see play, is Imperial is still running 3 to 4 Light Dramons, which Digivolve for 2 on top of a Memon. They would have to Digivolve for 3 on top of this guy.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people like move away from the Lydramon. They're not like going 4 of the Lydramons. You're seeing like 2, 3. I mean, it's a good card. Don't get me wrong, but if like sometimes Lydramon isn't what we want to do as our green source, we have other green sources. Obviously, Stigmon. He's not the best blue source either, but he's just kind of like he's there because he kind of fixes the issue of if you're missing a blue or if you're missing a green, he just exists. But yeah, you're right. In that scenario where you need to go Lydramon, then this card isn't necessarily good, but it can still Lydramon for 3, keep turn, and like if you really need to Lydramon to suspend and kill something, you would do it. But I don't know. He has a bad name. You're right. The name is bad, but the inheritable is good. So I'm still gonna give him 4 out of 5. I'm not convinced. This card in a Hyrule scenario is crazy.
Definitely a good card.
Yeah, definitely
Definitely.
a good card. We have here Ice Devimon. When attacking, bounce a card. It is a Devimon, and he's white. This is kind of cool. He looks dope. Art is
It
5 out of 5.
it matches the Snow Agumon that came back in, I think,
Yo,
BT4, BT5.
we're playing a snow deck. But in all seriousness, 1 out of 5. But okay, maybe 2 out of 5. But he's darn it if he doesn't look cool.
Yeah, no, I'm giving him a 5 on the art.
Yeah, no, art's 5 out of 5. Like a skeleton made of ice. Really dope. All right, here we have Caesarmon. I hope I did that one some justice. Just a level 4 jammer. We have a lot of level 4 jammers in the game. I don't think he's gonna make his way into the meta, as all the level 4 jammers that exist just have a better name than he does. Unless something crazy happens with the Caesar line. I don't know. But he looks really cool. So I'm gonna give this guy, I mean, he's a level 4 jammer with 6 KDP. That probably is a 2.5 out of 5.
I have seen this card in play with Blue Hybrid, but it's Blue Hybrid with the Leomon line.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah,
It's it's
it's
a
a
it's a good
very
card.
niche card, yeah.
It's a good card. I mean, you can argue that you can play this in Imperial as you want maybe more level 4 jammers, right? Because that's what but it doesn't have the inheritable of the XV, so we're losing that out. It just exists. It's a 2.5 out of 5 IMO, but solid card. Gorillamon, the art of it looking quite beefy. On play, you can play 1 level 3 Digimon from one of your blue Digimons, so it's a level 6. All right, so down here in South Florida, we're good friends with our boy Luis Pinto, and Luis Pinto is a Garurumon lover, and this card seems like it would be good in his deck as he's, swinging, summoning a source, and then he can summon the gorilla, which will summon another source, which will trigger some more effects. Outside of that specific deck, this card doesn't seem like it'd be too crazy, but in that deck, seems like 3 out of 5, maybe 4 out of 5. Maybe I'll ask Lewis and I'll see what his opinion is, but I am not convinced on this guy. His DP is not 6K. He's a 6 play cost. Eh. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're never hard dropping this guy for 6, so you have to go up the chain and then
Nah, we're always hard dropping this guy for 6. That's his effect.
you have to go up the chain and poop him out.
Yeah, and there are some limited cards that do that, and in that scenario, then he's really good. All right, Leomon, opponent's turn. While you have a Tamer in play, Digimon gains blocker. Cool. On deletion, gain 2 memory and draw a card. Oh, I really like his on deletion. This card seems pretty solid. Issue with him, his DP is really, really low. Gets bounced by Paildramon, gets deleted by Guillemons, but he does have it on deletion. But if he is spun, even Ice Devimon, if Ice Devimon counters him, is it a good card? I don't know.
So this Leomon is kind of just following the trend of what Leomons do in the show, where he's there as a blocker to get clapped and help his friends. In this case, gain 2 memory and draw a card.
Oh, he's getting clapped. All right. Let's go to Marine Angemon. On play for each of your opponent's Digimon without deletion card to cover 1 card. Your security stack cannot become 6 or more by this effect. That card, no troll. I don't know. I'm so like I think Blue Hybrid is so underrated in this format. It's such a cool deck because it's a deck from a previous format that's still making waves in our current format. Whether it's cool or not, that's up to you. But in that specific deck, this card seems like it just recovers you to 6. I don't know. But I'm gonna go with 3 out of 5, bro. This is a weird card, but seems kind of playable.
I like the fact that the heal on this card is probably one of the first cards that has a restriction of you can't have no Shikakumon also has a restriction on how much it can heal, but definitely 5 out of 5. This card is in Blue Hybrid is gonna do something, and the artwork is amazing.
The artwork is cool. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I'm convinced to go 4 stars out of 5. If I'm wrong, this is one of the cards that I can easily get wrong. This card seems super dope, and also frustrating. So that's very good. Now we're going to the Renamon line. So if everything, the Guillemon line is similar to this one, then this is probably all going to be 5 out of 5s in their own specific deck. So let's see. Reveal until you find one. Yeah, this is the same on play, but the inheritable is when you use an option, gain a memory. Yeah, solid 5 out of 5 in its deck. So it's a searcher on play, and it also gains you memory. Very good.
Yeah, all these inheritables that we're gonna see just follows the same trend.
Okay, now we have a Lotmon. If you have 3 or 4 security, and you have a Suzy Wong in play, recover 1. This card is, I have to read Suzy Wong. Let's get a little Suzy Wong action. Let's see. On play, if you may play a Lotmon from your hand without playing its memory cost. Okay. Honestly, not a bad card. I don't know what deck would play this. Gosh, I'm gonna go get Suzy and Lotmon a 5 out of 5 for synergy amongst themselves. Very cool that they have this weird little synergy. I don't know what else to say. You might see this in Rookie Rush, as Rookie Rush is one of the decks known for playing Lotmon. You might see this in Security Control. Other than that,
It's basically if you have the combo, it's a heal for 3. Heal for 3 memory. Because you drop the Tamer, you do the on play of the Lop, and you just heal 1, right?
no, of course. And then consistently, you can get you some resources later on in the game. I just don't see a deck that really wants this. Like Security Control already has enough heal. I mean, honestly, speaking about that, the Security Control lists that are being played currently at this time are very interesting, and the rookie lineup is very whatever. They're playing. I think I saw in the most recent list I got like third place. Patamon was being played as a rookie, and this Lotmon just seems better than that Patamon because this Lotmon will heal you under a better condition if you have Suzy Wong, which will give you more resources. So honestly, that might see play in that deck. Just remember, since it's a 2-card combo, it's going to require more deck space. So therefore, in all seriousness, these are probably like both of them together. Maybe what, like a 2 out of 5. I'll give them 2 out of 5. Well,
Yeah,
they might.
probably 2 out of 5.
They might see play, they might not. God bless. I definitely experiment with them, guys. QB, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 option. So yeah, look, I'm another searcher, but this is when Digivolving, very solid. Digivolves for 2. And Inheritable is correct, 5 out of 5.
Yeah, this one searches the plugins which the deck revolves around.
Alright. And Tyla, when you have Suzy. Oh, we have another Suzy card in play. Your Lotmons can. Oh, it just warps into this. What the hell? Uh, I mean, yeah, this is definitely okay in its deck, sure, but I wanna keep
I,
this.
I didn't even know this line was a thing.
This is dank. I'm just gonna keep this in the 2 out of 5 category. This is an interesting deck that just exists in EX2. Talmon. Okay, just lets you play the Tamer for free. So the others search you. This puts you the Tamer, gives you a great inheritable, sets you up to go to your level 6, which this is your level 6. Which obviously, again, I think this card is a 5 out of 5 in the deck that it exists, and honestly, just a really cool card in general. Stipulation, I think this Yakumon deck in general is very, very cool, but it seems very similar to another combo piece oriented stack deck along the lines of X Antibody, Jesmon, and things like that. So therefore, if you like those style of decks, now this is the yellow aspect where you can combo off, do minus DP, and do a lot of little weird combos and interactions with your plugins. Very, very cool deck. I think the deck is very interesting. Gonna see some thematic play. I don't know how good it is. If we look overseas and see how it did in the OCG or the Japanese meta, we know that the deck won some tops, but wasn't very, very powerful in the meta that it was played in because it has to contend with other big powerhouses. I'm gonna give this archetype and also the Galliman one. I guess I'm doing the review on the Galliman as well. 3 out of 5s. Very, very cool. Very, very thematic. I think they're very, very cool for locals, but in a competitive scenario, you have to beat such powerhouses of decks like D Reaper. You're gonna have to beat Massimo. You're gonna have to beat Imperial. You're gonna have to beat Yellow Hybrid. There are so many just powerful decks in the meta that these decks might win, but I don't know how consistently they can win. With that being said, prove me wrong. Top with these decks, go crazy. What do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, definitely feel like these theme decks are fun to play. You bring them to your locals, you have fun. The Siakuma, the Gallantmon, when we get to the Mega Gargle line, they feel really good within themselves. But then if you take it out of that aspect and go into like the top end of the
Yeah,
Digimon world, it's just they will crumble because they are slower than what's out there right now.
it seems like very piece reliant decks. The purple one seems like the one that is the least piece reliant because it just does it off the top and it's like very turboed between Eismon and Dobermon and all these other things. But yeah, so moving along to the Gargo Terriermon lineup. This deck is probably going to be Sergio's. I mean, Sergio's going to 5 out of 5 all of these, so I'm going to try to be more realistic. Let's see.
I
Your
mean, Shiva
turn.
is the best deck in the format right now, so.
Copium. Your turn once per turn when you play a Green Tamer. Yeah, solid. This card's actually not bad.
So this Terriermon is literally like the Agumon and the Gabu from Double Diamond, where you
mhm.
just have it on field, and if you say you hit a Tamer in security, gain a memory.
I mean, no, this
Oh,
card's just
oh
this
no,
card's just solid. This card seems
never
solid.
mind. This is your
Ooh,
turn, so that wouldn't happen.
that wouldn't happen. This card just seems solid because of Rapidmon. This card kind of like is pushing that Rapidmon, and Rapidmon, as we all know, crazy, crazy card. Issue is that the green Tamers might not be as powerful as the yellow Tamers, which is where we've seen Rapidmon really settle, as opposed to the deck that he was meant to be in, which is a Terriermon deck. But if you are playing a Terriermon deck, you probably will be playing Rapid, and therefore, if you're playing Rapid, you'll be playing some Tamers. So this card seems like a solid card. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, the Inheritable is very good too.
Inheritable's good. Your Rapidmon's now punching for 13, based off of this. Very good. It basically gives you the Cody buff, with to Rapidmon. Very, very good. And we'll go here into Gargo and Digivolving. All right, so reduction effects, super duper good. It's a 1 cost level 4. Gives some more DP. I mean, the artwork is cracked. Look at this guy. He's going crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's putting in work in that, buddy.
But he's also not restrictive because he seems also good and outside of his deck. It just says all you need is a green Tamer in play to reduce the evolution cost. So what are the 1 cost evolvers in green? It's like Weedmon, Vegemon, a bunch of other like weird mons. Honestly, he's a
Yeah,
pretty good card. Pretty
no,
good card.
definitely adds on to make my what green is good at being efficient with memory, just make it cheaper.
Nope, solid. Can't complain. Very good card. So rating 4 out of 5. When Digivolving 3, if you have a green team in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Okay, one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended. Alright, I mean, the Inheritable is fantastic. The one Digivolving is actually pretty solid because if you have a bunch of the Izzies, the 2 cost Izzies, am I right, Sergio? You can make this
Yeah,
guy cheaper using that, and then therefore you're also gaining Inheritables. If you can keep turn with this guy's slapping if you have the full line for 11k over something. Seems
Yeah, so
decent.
he gets 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he'd be 11K, tap something, and if you do have the 2 drop Izzy, you can essentially make this a 1 Digivolve as well.
Yeah, honestly, very, very solid card. Again, actually impressed by the cargo line. They're not just good in their own decks, they're just kind of good, period. This even the inheritable isn't like restricted to a specific mon, so it just gives you security +1, which green doesn't really have much access to outside of like the Grand Kawagu universe and like the weird little rookie that you guys have that I forget its name, but that guy gives you security +1. So
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, seems 4 out of 5 again. This card, I've already read it. It's so cool. 5 out of 5. I'm just gonna say it. End of attack. You may place his Digimon at the bottom of one of Digimon's Digivolution sources. And now, by my understanding, I think it puts the whole stack under, right? Because it's this Digimon. Yes.
I think it's the whole stack. I'm not 100% sure. This card still freaks me out. I mean, look at that art. It's just looking at you as like,
What a
what are you gonna do?
what a bizarre card in general. Like, I don't know. Like, just because of how weird it is. I like when they introduce new ideas, new mechanics. I think this card's a 5 out of 5 for that alone. Its playability is probably way less than that, but I'm gonna give him 5 out of 5. This card's cool as hell. It gives you security +1 after it swings because he's super safe, right? He's 11 KDP. If he has some bonuses under him, he's swinging for like 14 ish, 13. So he's gonna be safe, clear, maybe 2 checks, and then he goes under, making something again safer with his inheritable and giving him more checks. I don't know, man. This card might set up some weird OTKs. I like him. Obviously, you need like a bajillion memory to make it happen, but I like a bajillion memory. So Mega Garga. When Digimon suspend one of your opponent's Digimon for each green tamer you have in play. Okay, so very similar again to Rapid. Those Digimon do not unsuspend. Yeah, very, very good. Wow, this card is good. Whoa.
Yeah, so the Mega Gargoyle line definitely the top end is very, very spicy. The fact that they I believe it says they do not unsuspend during their unsuspend phase. So just something
And
I've been thinking about. Even though the 5 is very good, I've been thinking about the starter deck Mega Kabuteri, that when you kill something you burn. So if your opponent's always suspended, there's no reason for you to swing at life, and you just burn them until they die.
no, I mean, this card seems solid. Every card that green has that says does not unsuspend on your opponent's next unsuspend phase. Sorry, I'm dying. Seems very, very solid. Everyone knows how frustrating some T, the one cost. I'm not gonna even try to say the name.
The Shibamon card I have in front of me is we just call that card Eternal Suspension.
No, that card is very, very solid. We know cards that do those effects are very, very powerful in green. Now, again, this is a very slow effect, and oftentimes, like, yes, you suspend me, but just understand it doesn't stop Jogressing from happening. He is very hefty as he is a 5 cost. This card needs Izzy's to, like, it needs a lot of setup to make this card, like, really, really impactful. And for that reason, it might not have the impact that you need. With that being said, that's the entire Gargo line. Actually, pleasantly surprised. I think the Gargo line, outside of its own niche, is very, very solid and is a very nice thematic green deck. Seems like a very solid contender. I don't know how good it may be in the meta. Definitely might see this deck floating around. But once again, it has to compete with such big powerhouses that I'm suspecting it to have a difficult time. Gonna go with 3 out of 5. Someone's gonna make it work, and they're gonna say some people, some rapid Gargo enjoyers are gonna be like, "You don't know what you're talking about, man." And respect, man, I get it, but trying to be realistic as not a green player seems like a 3 to 4 out of 5. So I'm gonna give it 3.5. 3.5 out of 5 deck. It might see some tops here or there. Is it the meta defining best deck of the format? I don't think so, but very, very cool.
It's definitely going to be under the fun category, which I like to put a lot of these decks under when they're not that top tier deck. But definitely could make its way up there. Just depends.
All right. Let's get to the black cards. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add any all black tamers among them to your hand. Place the remaining on the bottom of the deck in any order. So this is very similar to the Agumon, the Patamon. This is a very cool card. Now, are there enough good black tamers to make this card good? Arguably, no. The the best black tamers are Coda and Yuji, and you have Surgers for those in your deck that have better inheritables as opposed to no inheritable. Super cool card that is more universal. I will give this guy a 2 out of 5 in this universe. In the universe that Black has better Tamers, or maybe further down the line, this guy might become more and more impactful. So this card is definitely a card that gets better with time, but at this time, no. That's gonna be a no from me.
Yeah, we just put it in the one and we move on.
All right, and oh my goodness, another Gardramon blogger. Let's go on play. When your Digimon gets, I mean, yeah, this is a card. Again, the DP is lackluster as opposed to all the other black blockers that we have and other options that we have for black blockers. It does have the machine typing, so I mean, it has some things going for it. Are the things going for it enough? I don't think so. I'm gonna give this guy again into the one star category.
7K blocker on the turn it's summoned. I mean, it could maybe hold out one turn, but I think if we look at all the champions right now, I think they're like 8K, so it's kind of irrelevant.
It's not even that. It's on play, brother. So you have to like. It's not on Digivolve. You have to slam them for 5
Yeah, yeah,
to get
yeah,
that turn.
yeah, on play. Like, oh, here's 5. You know,
Hmm. I don't know. I'm not convinced on him. I think you have better options for black blockers. You're gonna have to beat and you're gonna have to argue to me that Mechanorimon is worse than this card, and I don't see it. And Mechanorimon isn't even played, and that's one of my favorite cards. So gonna have to move on from this boy. We have here Strike Dramon. Reveal top 4 cards of your deck. Add one black tamer among them. Okay, so the black tamers in this set must be cracked. That's all I'm hearing from this.
so once we get to, I guess, the boss monster of it'll
It'll
explain
make
a bit
sense.
more. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So obviously we're searching for black tamers. Like so I'm gonna withhold my statements until we get there. This guy's a 5 out of 5. I like trains. That's all I gotta say. When you would digivolve this card into Grand Locomon, reduce its cost by 1. I mean, Grand Locomon must be loco.
Yeah, Grand Locomon seems like the big train.
Big train. Blocker. This guy's actually not bad. This guy's solid. I like him. He's a 8K blocker, level 5, 3 cost evolve, gives your black blockers more blocking. This card would be crazy in Popper, let me tell you. This is a Popper card AF, man. There's so many good black Popper cards in this set, actually. But in our current competitive format, this card, 2 stars. And I might be being a little too generous. What do you think?
I mean, if you that card, you can definitely splash it into some other cards that are some other decks that are out right now, but definitely not in the meta. That
We're too fast, brother. We're too fast. When Digivolving, you may play one Ryoko from your hand while paying its memory costs. Well, you don't have a Tamer, Digimon cannot attack players. Interesting. That's the first time I see that text. Once returned, get two blockers, D-Digivolve. But yeah, the inheritable, really, really good. D-Digivolving on attacking is fantastic. We forget that that's a whole thing. We forget that even exists in Digimon, but it does. It's very, very powerful. It also summons a Tamer for free, so you're basically Digivolving it for free because you're paying 3 to Digivolve, and you're also gaining 3, so he pays for himself in that aspect. His DP is insane. He is a 10k DP level 5. That guy is enormous. And he does have a weird drawback, but honestly, three star. 3 star.
that's why we're searching for a bunch of tamers.
That's what, but this Ryoko guy must this Rio guy must be crazy. So let's see the grand train. Oh my goodness, look at this train. Your turn. Okay, it must go face. I like that. You know what? This guy's cool as hell. 5 out of 5. Moving on. I don't even need input on this guy. That guy's a 5 out of 5.
Agreed. He's a cyborg and a machine. Let's go.
He's cool. Oh my goodness. This guy's. Okay, so he has an inherent reboots. Opponent's turn once per turn. When your opponent's Digimon is unsuspicious. This guy actually is not too bad. Kind of seems like a card that says no to Paildramon, but is that enough? Is that enough? I don't know. This guy's cool. His art is awesome, but he is a level 6 that's 4 to evolve. It might be too late by the time this card comes out. I don't know.
It's a very interesting mechanic that the card has. I don't think we've seen something like that before. Where it's like if you swing you just get de-digivolved if you restand.
I mean, I'm gonna put him in the same category as Ancient Troymon, right? When swinging, do something to a guy that unsuspends, right? So he's like Troymon for black, but they do like more de-digivolve where green does more suspension. And we're not even seeing Troymon at this time. Everyone says that Troymon just gets clapped, and Troymon has an effect that if it dies, it summons something. This guy is prime Megadeth target number 1. I don't know. If Troymon isn't being played, I don't think this card's being played. So therefore, I'm going with that assumption. But he's super duper cool. It took me a while to think about it, but with that same thought process, I'm gonna give him a 2-star. He's very, very cool, but I don't think you'll see play. Art is a 5 out of 5. Look at
Yeah,
this thing.
I was gonna say like a 4. The art's like a 4.
Oh, the art's pretty cool. So just him on Blitzarm. So is this the big guy for the Ryu deck?
So Justimon is a deck that a lot of people are hyped for. It's just fan favorite.
Activate one of the following effects. This Digimon gets 2k for the turn. Let's suspend this Digimon until they win. Okay, so when you say activate this Digimon's when Digivolving, okay, for each tamer you have in play. Oh my goodness, yeah, he's super cool.
Yeah, so the more Tamers you have in play, then you can do his effects that many
He
times.
reminds me of, oh man, what is that purple card that I haven't seen in so long that I hate? Ah, it's
Uh,
a level 6 purple card that has a bunch
with
of
Tactimon,
Tactimon. This is a very Tactimon-esque card, and Tactimon doesn't see play right now. Obviously, this card is built, a deck is built around him. Therefore, he might see a little bit more play in that specific deck. In the deck that he's supposed to be played in, obviously 5 out of 5. Outside of which, it still seems like a decent card. It has very good effects. It's not restricted to the tamer. Maybe Ryu makes this card even crazier, so I want to read Ryu and see if it gives this guy like security +1 or like deletion effects, protection. I don't want to see what Ryu does, but seems decent. Very hard to say what it does without Ryu, so I'm gonna just go ahead and look at both the black tamers right now, so I can give you a better assumption. Review the top 4 cards, add them when one of your Digimon attacks, suspend this Digimon. So yeah, Ryu just gives 1k. It's a searcher, 3 cost. It's not a memory tamer. Very solid. And Kazo, start a main phase. Okay. 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 Is he a cyborg? Oops. He is. I mean, both of those tamers seem to synergize well with him. I don't think they have enough synergy for me to be like, that is cracked. He must be Omega broken. You still need a good memory setter. I guess Izzy is the way to go if you're going full black. He still requires a lot of setup, but he does come out of really good inheritables with paired with Strike Dramon, paired with Psydramon. I'm gonna
it's
go ahead.
definitely
I got
yeah.
yeah. It has to beat X Antibody. At the end of the day, who are you competing with? You're competing for with the best black deck in the format, which is X Antibody, and I just don't think it can. Unfortunately, especially as X Antibody gets more support in BT9 with the the Alphamon and all that stuff, Alphamon X. I'm gonna have to say that because of that, X Antibody still reigns supreme. This will just end up being another fun deck. Very, very cool. Take it to your locals, go ham. You might see a top here or there because people are maybe enjoyers of the card, but I think X Antibody is just inherently a better deck. Don't crucify me for that.
I'll jump on that train. X Antibody is the better black deck and will be the better black deck from here until quite some time.
So as a purple player, obviously super biased. I'm just gonna skip these next 5 cards. They're 5 out of 5, so you don't even have to read them. Just put them in a deck. You just win. But in all seriousness, obviously this card is played in the Beals deck. He's very, very good in the Beals deck. Um, I've read him before. Obviously, I try to keep up to date with the colors that I really enjoy, and I'm very hyped to try this deck out. Do I think this deck is competitive? Again, it has to compete with so many other decks, and Galliman necessarily stomps this deck because of the trashing mechanic on how they deal with security. Um, I don't know. It has to beat Beals. It has to be creepy. It has to beat Massa. It has to be Loop. It's fighting way too many purple decks, but definitely super duper cool. And obviously, what is the issue that purple has the most? Blue decks and Imperial Dramon and blue hybrids still exist. So with me not coping, this deck is probably at the end of the day, and this is like again maybe a little too early for this statement, but this deck is probably a 2 out of 5. But very, very cool. Obviously gonna be it's a fan favorite deck. I love the deck. I want it to be awesome, but I'm trying to also be realistic. I hope I prove myself wrong. But but I think this card's very good. With that being said, I think this card is a 5 out of 5 in the deck that it is played. Obviously, you have to play it, and outside of the deck that it is played, it doesn't seem as playable. So, anything?
No, yeah, this is definitely falls into the theme. This is the rookie I was talking about with his inheritable, giving a Beelzemon 3k DP, and then you have the rookie from this set that if you have 10 in trash, you get another 2k DP. So like your if you run that line like your champions, your level fours, fives, just mainly your fours, they are DP boosted, but it's not warranted to not play Demimera.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome card, but then again, you're competing with too many things. The 3K DP, it seems like it's specific for when you do the Warp Digivolve into the OG Beals, because that Beals I believe is 11K, so he's very very susceptible to getting blown up very easily. Making him 14K makes him a lot safer. He also does pop a level 4 on Digivolve. Gives you more targets for him to summon as well. I think that's the point of that inheritable. I don't think he goes on the new Bealses, but maybe 3K is unnecessary. It's in this format, speaking, as long as you're above 8K, you're fine. 8K is like maybe the crashing point of all the joggers level 5s. Obviously, if you hit a level 6, it's a level 6, but I don't know. Yellow Hybrid doesn't have big guys in their security. Imperial doesn't have big guys. No one has big guys. So I think the 3K DP boost isn't necessarily too important. So let's go on to the Deviamon. Another Devi target just for you Devi enjoyers. I see you, Tristan. I see where you're at. Retaliation and just natural retaliation. Yeah, I mean, solid. This card, unfortunately, has to compete with the very next card in the set, which is this guy, who I think he is... This card is so good. And because of that, I mean, for you Devi enjoyers, let's give it a 5 out of 5. But for you non-Devi enjoyers, this card is probably 1.5 out of 5. I don't know. There are other retaliators in the game that are cheaper, that do other things, that have DP that is better. So at the end of the day, he's another Devi target with retaliation and an inheritable that's usable. So maybe because of that, you might see me play in the Dan Devi deck, but other than that, I don't see him being playable.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the original Devi is kind of the same numbers and has retaliation and inheritable.
I think
Or
so.
no?
As the inheritable is retaliation as opposed
Yeah.
to this one, which again, accelerating the game state or becoming stronger. What is more important? I think accelerating the game state always takes a little advantage. So you might see him being played. Obviously, you'll play him in a Devi deck because of his name, because you just need more Devi names. But other than that, I don't know what else he'd be played. So let's move on to the card I was talking about, Doberman. Doberman is fantastic. On deletion, trash the top two cards of your deck, then return one from your trash. It doesn't have to be one of the cards you trashed anyway. So as long as your graveyard is being full or your trash is being filled with Digimon, this card has a fantastic on deletion effect. It comes out for cheap if you play Alice McCoy, who I think is also a super duper cool card. This card will definitely see play, and I see it very often in Beal's decks. See it in Beal Star decks. This card might become the new Eismon, as you don't have to, as people are playing Eismons in their decks. It also has a way to recover the stuff for the Lilith deck. I don't know. This card is very very cool. Giving purple recurability from the trash is always very very strong, and this card is targeted recurability, and it's a champion, and it mills and accelerates game state. I don't know. Seems like a good
Yeah.
card.
Yeah,
Give this card a 4 out of 5.
looking at the card as a standalone and the applications it can be put in basically every single purple deck that's out right now, like this card might be one of the better cards coming out of this set.
Outside of everything I've seen right now, he seems like the most universal as opposed to like the Labramon. Let's not forget that this card I also agree is very universal. Those seem like to be very like the most universal cards out of the set. Everything else is very hyper specific to a deck and an archetype. But yeah, very very strong card. This card is crazy. Mephispawn. On play, draw 2, then discard 2. By discarding one card and hand gain one memory. I mean, sometimes when you brick, you might as well have an on play that does something, but 7 play cost is so heavy, bro. I don't think this card's playable. This is a 1 out of 5.
Hey, look at the art though. Look at the art. Look at it's 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced on him unless this guy does something with him. When
I'm
did you
a
me? Both
huge fan
players.
of this card.
Both players trash from their hand to This card is fantastic. This card is one of the only mechanics I've seen. Again, cards that do a new mechanic, I immediately think those cards are very, very cool, and immediately start thinking, wow, like this card has something going for it. And it's another. Remember, it's purple level sixes are but a toolbox. We got Creepy, we got Lilith, we got Golfmon now, and they just do something always so cool and so impactful in a different way. Now, this card, it says each player trashes card from their hand until they have 5 cards in play. So oftentimes right now, when you get to later points in the game and purple is like trying to finish you off in these control matchups, people have library books in their hands. They just have a fat 20 card hand. They're just waiting for the right card to like use one of their cards. But if you play Golfmon, you immediately remove what percentage of their hands playability. They'll keep obviously the best cards, but you're allowing to trash those cards, and if they trash cards that allow them not to get milled, like this card's very interesting. I don't know. This card's super cool and its mechanic is cool. 5 out of 5. This card's awesome.
Yeah, when I first read this card, I really enjoyed that discard mechanic because that's not something we have, like hand destruction. Not something we have in the game until this card. So definitely late game. Take Yellow Hybrid for example. They have 30 plus cards in their hands, and then you have to make them go down to 5. It's definitely
It
a
kills their
game
options,
changer.
man. And obviously, funnily enough, it removes the power that Eden's Javelin has. Eden
Because
Javelin.
we're playing a game where you're just used to Digivolve, draw, Digivolve, draw, draw. You're used to having that library, and then when you're put in a situation where like, oh, I only have 5 cards now, late game, what can I actually do?
I mean, ignoring the fact that yellow goes into the late game and has a billion cards in hand, in Pyrosphere very quickly when they start to spiral out of control, when you're stabilizing versus them, and you're trying to stabilize, they end up having so many cards in hand, they have so many options to deal with, and this card will just cut options down heavily. So I think this card is very interesting. Um, yeah, don't. This card's no joke. I think he's very, very cool. I'm gonna give him 5 out of 5 just because he's a very cool mechanic. And here we have Beelzemon. When this card is trash from your deck, you may play one Immon when Digivolving, when attacking. Trash the top 2 cards of your deck and delete one Digimon level 3 or lower. This card is dope. This card is dope. He's good on Digivolve. He is good on attacking. He is good when he is milled. Yeah. Solid card. Solid card.
And is he the C? No, he's just the SR.
Yeah, he's one of the SRs. He's good. In the deck that he is good, he is good. And in decks that he isn't meant to be in, he also is good. I like him. I like this guy a lot. It's kind of like it has a pseudo creep effect, you know, when digivolving trash cards from your deck, but then it has like more of a control card aspect. Creepy needs 2 cards in play to summon Lucemon, right? Which will delete things. This guy doesn't need 2 cards in play. He just needs to be played, and then he can pop things depending on how thick your library of your trash is. This guy seems very, very playable, actually. In most case scenarios, he can be popping. In most cases, he'll be popping a champion. Very seldomly do I see him popping a level 5. Very rare do I see him popping level 6. But cool card. And obviously, if you play Immons in your deck, this card's cool because as you trash, like with Dobermon, let's say you trash him and you're playing Beelstar, you summon back the imp that it trashes more cards to set up more graveyard. I don't know. Card seems very good. I'm gonna give him a 3.5 out of 5. And in the deck he's played in, he's a 5 out of 5.
Oh, 100%. I've seen the card in action. It definitely works really well with its own deck, and even outside of his deck, it's definitely a good card.
Yeah. And here we have a very bizarre card. I think he's super cool. If you're playing one of the theme card decks, he comes out for 1. It cannot attack. When you Digivolve, you can rest it, draw a card. And then one of your guys gets 3 KDP.
One of the cool things to notice about this one is that yeah, right there, it does not have a level.
Unknown. Very cool. I don't know. This guy is dope. I don't see you cutting space to play him, and even in those decks, he gets clapped by literally everything because he's a 1k DPer that he suspends himself to use his ability. I think about this card very similarly to an Upstart Goblin in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So you want to start your turn off like you'll promote, you'll play him for 1, and then you'll Digivolve, draw a card. Then you'll just cycle him, right? How good is that cycle? This card basically makes your 50 card deck 46 if you're playing a thematic deck and you want to use him as just cycle. I mean, if he lives, he also just gets a free check-in. Ah, this is so tough.
If
Three. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. This card's interesting. This card's definitely interesting. It's just, in my opinion, this card is just used to cycle. And is that good enough? Is one cost cycle a card? Is a one cost draw card good enough? I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
we'll have to see.
Obviously, again, for the mama lineup, I'm gonna do this one quick because I've read these as well. People are very excited to play this deck. I think this deck is a contender for one of the best decks in the format. This deck is a very good deck into control. Into control, this deck is a terror. You know what I mean? They don't have any levels by my understanding, any of the D Reaper cards. So a lot of cards that say deleted Digimon X level or below doesn't work. You can't really target the mom. They all have really good effects, really good synergies. You have cards like Big Daddy Reaper who just ends the game. You have cards that stall the game with Gatekeeper. And you have cards that extend combos like Searcher as well as Bubbles. So just to do the quick rundown, I think this deck is a strong contender. Control matchups like Yellow Hybrid are going to have a rough time, in my opinion, with this deck. They're going to have to warp some cards around, but this deck is, again, susceptible to speed. So as the format is very, very fast, this deck will get pushed out a bit. But if you expect to see a lot of control in the tournament, if you expect a lot of control in your locals, this deck will do very, very good. And I'm pretty sure this deck is mostly common, right? So in a popper format, this deck's crazy, right? You know? Yeah, seems they're all common and rares. So if you want to build a very cheap Digimon deck that is effective, this is also another option. Super cool deck. With that being said, Searcher is the bread and butter of your deck. You play this card for a reduced cost of 2, so he comes out for 1. He draws a card. So he's just meant to basically be summoned, draw a card, and you shove him under Mommy, who's over here. And then its inheritable is give all the D Reapers in your traits 1 KDP. 5 out of 5 in the deck that he has played. Obviously, all of these cards need to be played in their deck. I don't see them being splashed anywhere else except maybe Gatekeeper, but that's kind of troll. So 5 out of 5 in the deck that he's played. Anything you want to add, Sergio?
I mean, the deck is just search, search, search until you can bring out Daddy, and Daddy will just end the game for you.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
Not much to be said about
Not
the
much
deck.
to be
It's
said. We got Pendulum.
we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it a lot. It has its blockers. It has its searchers. I mean, beside Reaper coming down and ending the game, what's omega scary is that Gatekeeper. If Mom has 6 on there,
Let me
I
just
believe
can I just read
six.
them real quick because just for the people that aren't familiar with this card, it comes out of security, right? So play this card without battling and without playing its cost. So if this card is hidden security, it is a security Digimon. And he's also a 10k security Digimon, but it doesn't do battle, so ignore that. But he's still 10k when he's on the board. On play, when you have Mother D Reaper recover 1, so it'll come out, hit its on play, do that. And then opponent's turn, when you have Mother D Reaper and has 6 devolution sources, all of your opponent's Digimon gain security attack +1. I mean, security attack -1. So this card is crazy. How good is Holy Flame? How good is Holy Flame in security? Amazing. Imagine Holy Flame that has a 10k body that also recovered you 1. Yeah. This card is
As someone who's lost many games to Holy Flame, having Holy Flame on a Digimon with a restriction that's not that hard to acquire, just have 6 searchers. You can kind of do 2 searches a turn with the deck.
when you're
So
doing Searcher plus Jerry, but we'll get to that. But yes, very, very fast, very strong card. Mamma mia, brother. If you have 2 of this on the board, good luck getting through their security. Again, he doesn't have a level, so he's hard to deal with. Remember, he's going to be big as well because of the inheritable of Searcher. He's going to be at least, let's say, when he comes down and he has his effect active, then he'll be at 16k on your turn. This card is not a blocker, so it obviously gets shoved into your security. It doesn't say cannot attack. He's super duper safe. His effect is super duper strong. He'll only not attack if he's afraid that you'll kill him on the crackback because his effect is way, way better. But if you're like trying to like set up, this card just chunks you out of the game so hard. It's crazy.
it's definitely a card where he just sits there and just looks at you.
So Pendulum Feet. Sorry that my face is covering this one, guys. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with D Reaper and its traits, and add 1 Searcher among them. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck. Again, so this card is a 3 cost. Potentially add to. Most possibly will always add to. but it is a 3 cost. This card doesn't get reduced. This card just summons, adds 2 cards that fuels your next play. Again, you might see him. You might not see a 4 of him, but you'll definitely maybe see a couple of him. Bubbles. You may put one searcher from your hand at the or yeah, you may put one of yours on play or in the hand at the bottom. So this again speeds up your mother absorption. You may put one of your searchers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it has a
this
security effect and an on-play effect. So either way, that card is
this
just
guy's doing stuff. So Bubbles,
yeah.
you will see Bubbles. Jerry is the one where on main, suspend this Digimon, reveal the top 5, place a searcher to the bottom of Mom, and then continue. So she's the one that accelerates the game state. So you usually see that the turns going like play searcher, play pendulum feet, pass. Next turn, play searcher, play Jerry, Jerry on tap, put another searcher, then play like a Bubbles. And like by that time they're like 5 guys in. All they need is 7, I think, for this guy to come and kill you. So speed, speed, speed. The problem is obviously with this deck, as with Eospawn, what are the ratios? How many searchers are you playing as opposed to other cards? Like, are you playing 14, 15? Like, again, you can play 50 copies of this card. This is Eospawn-esque. But how many is the right number for consistency? And that's something that we're going to have to see with. And as people play, they'll figure it out. But that's like the big thing about Mother D Reaper, your ratios and your numbers. But a lot of the cards are exceptionally powerful. I usually don't see this card, therefore I don't think it's good. But let me read it. While you have a Mother in play, he has blocker. Yes, it's just a 6k blocker. Our 6k blocker is good enough. Mecha Norimon would just be better than this card. Therefore, I can understand why you don't see this card. So yeah, this card's the first Mother D Reaper 1 out of 5. Even in its own deck, 1 out of 5.
Yeah, we got a. I didn't even see that this guy has Rush, the one that we're gonna see right now.
Oh, yeah, ignore that guy, but he's a grappler. He's gonna grapple you.
The thing is, the mother mechanic, like all these cards, depending on how you play your turn, will come down for free. So it's just another body.
Oh, just kidding. She does once per turn reduce cost. So I see, I see. So this might be a little bit cheaper. Still, I don't see. If you want to play a 6k blocker, you just play Mechanori, and because he's 4 cost infinity blocker. I don't know. I still don't see this card being that good, even with the inheritable. You just want speed with this deck, right? Because you just want to end the game with Reaper, and so you just want to max out probably on these guys to increase the speed. This guy doesn't exist in that universe, and that's why I genuinely don't see him when I see gameplay of this deck. But if you want to play him in your deck, he is a blocker. Now let's see Horn Striker. While you have a Mother in play, gain Rush. Funnily enough, you don't gain Blitz, so that's important. But this card could be potentially a kill spell, right? It comes down, it's reduced. This is a 7 cost, so let's say you have 5 sources, he comes down for 2, clears a body, because at that point he'll be 12 KDP, but he has to swing into something. I also don't see this guy in most Mother decks. Therefore, I'm inclined to believe he's not too crazy, but you might see some amount of him being played, as he allows for some board control. I don't even know what to say. I don't know. I don't
I
think you'll
mean,
see this guy.
it goes back to the ratios that you're running in this deck. Yeah, the rush is cool. If you have 7 sources under Mother, it comes down for free. But at the same time, if you have 7, you're just dropping dead. I mean,
Exactly.
there might be a universe where you play this as a one of, and you play him for free, and then you play Dad. I mean, but definitely not a card you see in Reaper.
2 out of 5. He'll go up from the blocker. Because Rush, I think, is a better key term than block. Hot take.
This is a card that we
This is
do
a card
see
you
in
do
Blood.
see Pilates head. That's definitely not how you say it, but that's going to be how I'm going to say it. So, man, when you have a Mother Reaper, by suspending this Digimon, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon. Holy crap. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
that guy. Oh, my
Mother has
lord.
sources. Once again, this will have a reduced cost. Mind you, all these cards do get stopped by Psychmon, the reduced cost, so they will have to play this for 6. They'd have to play the Rusher for 7. But if you have a Mother with 7 sources and you tap this guy, it's 7, 8, 9, 10k body is being deleted.
Yeah. So I was talking about how the rush mechanic could be used to board clear. This guy just does it better. Obviously, he is then susceptible. He will kill something, but then he suspends himself. And therefore, on the following turn, he can be cleared. But again, their Mother wants to 1-for-1 you infinitely until it summons Reaper and one-shots you. So like in the Mother deck, I'm down for you to trade into this card. I don't care. I'm down to you to trade into Jerry. I don't care. As long as I get my speed. Again, accelerate your game state, force your opponent to not progress in their turn. Yeah, seems like a solid card. 5 out of 5. Holy crap, that card is crazy. Optimizer. I rarely see this guy too. He's a 10 cost, so he must do something crazy on play and when attacking. If you control Mother. Yeah, this is a card again because of your ratios. Once again, this might not be as impactful because if you whiff on an important card, right? This card wants to summon like a free. Can it summon itself? Yeah, that'd be kind of dope if it summoned itself. Yeah.
So what, you reveal the top three and play one Digimon with D Reaper with a cost of 10 or less.
Yeah, it can play itself. Then that's really dope. You can optimize into something. Yeah. If that doesn't happen and you whiff, which is the probable scenario, then this card seems less good. But in the universe that he does that, that's kind of cool because you can optimize and then summon like a Jerry or a Bubbles or a Pendulum Feed, but it is a hefty cost, right? At what point does this card break even? Probably around 5 or 6. And at that point, you don't really care about summoning this guy. You probably want to summon more along the lines of the Gatekeeper. This card's a 3.5. Solid card, but I don't know how much we'll see play. It's super ratio dependent. What do you think?
Yeah, it's once again it's one of those cards where your ratios in the deck matter. This is going to take the place of something that's more important. I mean, you could have cool plays where, like you said, you summon this and then you maybe summon the Rush 2 for free or something else, but then again, it's just not played.
Yeah. Then we have Gatekeeper, who's 5 out of 5. Reaper, who's 5 out of 5. We've covered them both. We've talked a lot about them, but just so you guys can read it. When you play as Digimon, you may trash 7 or more Digivolution cards from the bottom of one Mother to reduce this guy's play cost by 0. Once again, Psychemon is gaming in this set. Holy crap, he's so good. And then he has Rush. When attacking, you may place 2 Searchers from the trash under this Digimon to unsuspend them. So again, let's say you do the trash 7. So you trash 7 Searchers into the trash. This guy is going to swing once, put 2, swing again. So that's 2 checks, put 2. That's another check. So 3 checks. We've put 4 Searchers. Swing again. So 3 checks for its own effect, right? And he's 15, so he's super duper safe. As he puts the Searchers under him, he's also even more safe. This guy's potentially swinging for 4 on summon with that 7. So pretty good. As long as they did a little bit of chip before, this guy just ends the game. Also, his stats are crazy, and if he doesn't die, if he doesn't get cleared, he will kill you next turn. This card is absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Something interesting that still needs to be confirmed is Psychmon actually does not stop this card from coming down. Psychmon will stop every other card that Mother drops at the reduced cost, but it will not stop Reaper.
I think is it a mistranslation, Sergio?
I believe so. We're still waiting to confirm that, but it actually has been ruled for the Pennsylvania Philadelphia
I think it's
regionals that
Philly.
Psychmon, I believe it's Philly, that Psychmon does not
It's been
stop Reaper coming down for free.
Okay. I mean, well, if that's the case, I mean, Psychemon is still good versus this deck. Don't get me wrong. That just makes it a little less good as its Reaper turn is. That's tough because again, this deck seems like it's not going to play a lot of outs because of the ratios. Therefore, its biggest out to Psyche might be the Pilates, and that I'm down. I'm down for them to pay 6 to kill my Psyche because I'm gonna reborn it again. And good luck, brother. I'm gonna freaking nail bone that boy back and enjoy. With that being said, that's the majority of the Digimon in the set. We're going to go down to the Tamers. We're going to try to speed this part up a little bit, as most of them are very, again, class dependent, deck dependent, and then we'll just finish off with the 2 big level 7s at the end of the set. So we have here Takato, which is, I believe, if you delete a Digimon, gain a memory by suspending him, and also your Digimons that evolve to the Galliman, Guillemon, Growlmon line will gain Blitz for the turn when Digivolving. In its deck, 5 out of 5. Outside of his deck, still crazy. This card in Security Control is a great red source. Security Control has not had a good red source besides a Digi-Egg ever. So this guy actually has some synergy with the deck as it gains you memory as you kill things. Super duper cool. Sergio.
Yeah, and it's in the Galliman line as someone who's been playing it, the deck lives and dies on this card.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't see this, then the deck loses its power. But when you do see this, the plays that you can do is really great.
Fantastic card. 5 out of 5. Kenta. So you can play the Marine Angemon or okay. Uh, so your turn. When your blue Digimon is played, you may suspend Digimon to this tamer to the trash. The bottom of it when you play Digimon. I mean, he's very interesting. I think Marine Angemon. Here we go. Is a card that is a standalone good card. It doesn't need the tamer to be good. This guy is kind of icing on the cake, and I don't think this cake needs any icing. So I'm gonna say this card is a 1 out of 5.
Yeah, definitely. The card by itself is
This is a two. You can
the
just be playing
Digimon.
Matt. You can just be playing. If you're gonna play a 2 cost blue tamer, you play Matt Ishida. You're not playing Kenta. Sorry, Kenta, brother. Matt's just a little too much of a gamer. This card, you may play one Leomon in your hand without paying its memory cost. That's solid. And when one of your Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to draw a card. I mean, in the Leomon deck, seems really, really good. Outside of Leomon deck, 1 out of 5.
Yeah, definitely ties into the line where you play this and you play the Leomon that if you have a blue tamer, you have a blocker, and if it dies, you draw a card, gain memory. So like, it definitely has cool synergy.
This card, oh, again, this card is a blue source for decks that want to play blue sources. So if your Beelstar deck wants to play a Tamer to get a blue source to play Kakaitis and other blue cards, she is an option. The issue is she's not a memory Tamer, so I think they favor the memory Tamer over the draw card because she does have a good continuous effect, the opponent's turn effect. She just does not set you to 3 as a 4 cost. So because of that, that's her only downside as a splashable card. Other than that, I don't know. It could have been better if it was a memory tamer. If this was a memory tamer, it would be way higher on the tier list. But outside of that,
This is if I'm right, this is the first four cost tamer that's not a memory tamer.
that's super duper weird. I wish this was a memory tamer. If this was a memory tamer, she'd be pretty solid. I'd give her like 3.5. As not a memory tamer, I have to give her much less, and I'll put her in the 1.5 category. Susie, we already covered. Interesting little mechanic that exists for that line, the Lotmon and Antilamon line. Rika, again, this card is the bread and as Takata is the bread and butter of Guillemon. Takato, Rika is the bread and butter of the Susa. I'm gonna kill this name.
Sakuya one.
The Kuyamon line. So very important in that deck. 5 out of 5 in that deck for sure. It's also a memory setter, but it's not just a memory setter. It has a very specific set of text that is very good in that deck. So that card is a 4 of in the, and I'm gonna kill it against Sakuyamon deck. What do you think?
Yeah, this one with the line when you use your plugins, I think you can use it without paying its memory cost. So you gain more memory with the inheritables. It's just part of its deck, great. Outside of its deck, you're never playing this card.
For sure. We have here Henry. Henry is a memory tamer. Awesome. When Digimon with Gargo or Rapid and its name attacks, yeah, more suspension. Super duper dope. I like it. In that deck, it's good. It's a memory tamer. It's fighting against Mimi. I think Mimi does something that no other tamer does, and therefore Mimi is crazy. So if you're fighting Mimi, you're doing something wrong. Is the suspend one tamer necessary in that deck where you can play 1 cost suspension cards? You can play flower cannons. I think Mimi is still the memory tamer for that deck. Although you could play a couple Henrys if you want.
So I think when I looked at the Gargle line, like the level 6 already suspends per tamer that you have, and then this suspends something else. So I think they overloaded on this. It's a cool memory tamer. It's something different. It adds on to the Mimi, the Ken, and now this one as another memory tamer.
But I think Mimi
But
and Ken just or might
yeah,
be the way. Yeah.
yeah. In terms of memory tamers, for sure, especially if you're playing the Gargle, which already does its effect, but when Digivolve.
Yeah. So like as I said, the Gargo line was pretty highly rated by me. I think Henry is going to be the part of the Gargo line that's not going to be highly rated. I'm going to put this card as a 2 out of 5, maybe even 1 out of 5 because it's very hyper specific. It's a 1 out of 5. Henry, what you doing, man? And then I think we already covered these tamers. Obviously, very very good in Justimon. Just depends how good Justimon is as opposed to X Antibody, and therefore they seem a little bit lackluster when compared to Coda and Yuji, and therefore no deal.
I
Um,
agree.
so then we're gonna talk about Alice. Alice is dope. I've read this card before. 2 cost purple tamer. So now she's fighting versus Mimi, who I think is a dope tamer, but her effect is super duper cool. When one of your level 5 Digimons would Digivolve into a level 6, you may delete one of your other Digimons to reduce the cost by 3. So super interesting. It makes Black War Growl a really crazy level 5, as it just gives you a rookie to summon that usually dies and gets an on deletion effect, and then makes your level 6 free. So Black War Growl is a level 5 setup to go to level 6 for 3 memory. That also triggers an on deletion. With Alice on play. Obviously, this is a heavily combo oriented turn, but is it good enough? I don't know. You tell me.
The fact that what I really like about this card is that it's not color restricted in terms of what you're digivolving into. It just says a level 5 into a level 6. So you can play this card literally in every deck. And it is insane. I believe this card is up there as one of the top cards coming out of EX2.
Agreed. Agreed. Very, very cool card. 5 out of 5. And then I and Maiko. These cards are, again, memory setters for the Beals deck. In the Beals deck is a 5 out of 5. Outside the Beals deck, the effect is hyper specific, and therefore it's not going to be as playable because you're competing now against Matt once again as the memory tamer. So with that being said, 5 out of 5 in its deck. Outside of its deck, not so much. Then here we have the first plugin, Security Attack +1 on a red plugin. Crazy. Again, these are only played in the deck that they're formed, so they're, again, 5 out of 5s. With that being said, you have a Security +1 that reveal the top 3 and add, so they all have that effect? No, they do different things. This is a game jamming, draw a card. This is reduce the Digi-Evolution, reduce Digi-Evolution or Digi-Evolving effect, and then does the same thing as the red. And then you have the blue card, which is play a Tamer from hand. So when you look at them, you want to ratio your deck out. Security +1 seems really good, but I think the best plugin obviously is the one that lets you warp. You're gaining 3 memory for the price of 2, obviously, and you're tricking your effects. Sometimes this will come down for free when you're playing your Rikas. Like, it becomes even more powerful. I think this might be maybe your higher count. This might be your second. This might be your third, and then this might be your fourth. So with that being said, obviously all those cards are 5 out of 5s in the deck that they're being played. Don't forget that Holy Wave is a pseudo plugin because it is a 2-cost yellow option that will trigger all your effects. So that's another card that exists for the deck. But with that being said, I think the green might be the best, then the red, then the blue, and then the white.
Well,
So
since all of them have the same text, where if you have a tamer in play, you just ignore the colors. Like, depending on what you want in your deck, it's just, if you need more damage, if you need jamming, like, definitely the green one is pretty good.
there's a lot of
And
recyclability in the deck too, because I believe she adds plugins back to your hand. Yeah, for each chamber, return 1 plugin from your trash to your hand, so you recycle. So it'll, like, the reason I value the green one so highly is, again, this is a stack combo deck. A stack combo deck wants to get to its sources, it's to a combo pieces as fast as possible, and this allows you to cheat basically 1 memory. Um, so very, very good in my opinion. I don't know what you were gonna say, but go
no,
off.
yeah, all these plugins are very good, especially if you splash them in, and then we'll just get to the other options that aren't plugins.
Exactly. So yeah, all the plugins in their decks, very, very good. I know we ran over them really quickly, but we have security +1. Um, always very strong. Ending the game is good. We have
I believe
jamming.
all of them have no, they all have different security effects.
No, yeah. So that, like I was saying, this one is a searcher. So reveal the top of your cards of the deck. Add a tamer. Place the remaining to the bottom. So this is a tamer, searcher, and security. This is a draw card in security. This is a This adds a Digimon Searcher in security, and this is a Play a Tamer in security. So the strongest effect in security is this one, with the rest of them being a little lackluster. They're blanks in security. So that's another problem with this combo deck. As you swing into it, you're going to have things that really don't do much. They do get added to hand, though. So, but they don't necessarily do something impactful. With that being said, they're all very strong. Give Sakuyamon. Give Sakuyamon a try. I think the deck is super duper cool. So going to Pyrosphere. Pyrosphere, I have been seeing this card be played. occasionally. So it's a 2 cost option that says delete one of your opponent's 3K or less DP Digimon, and if you don't delete anything, draw 2 cards. So again, what does red need more than anything? Draw power. It also sometimes kills something. Doesn't have to be a rookie. It can kill a champion sometimes, or if you like DP reduce things, you can kill something as well. I don't know. This card is deceptive. This card is a
What
deceptive card. What do you think?
what I really like about it is just its security effect. If you're hitting security, most likely they're not gonna have a rookie on board, so just draw two.
I mean, this card is most often 2 cost draw 2, which 2 cost draw 2 is pretty solid. I have seen some gameplay of the OCG meta, and they really do enjoy, again, Japanese OCG meta, and they do really enjoy this card. I think drawing cards is exceptionally strong, specifically in red. Um, yeah, I think this card's a pretty solid card, but it's deceptive. I don't know how many of this you would want. I'd have to give this a 3 out of 5. I don't know. I know I'm taking a while to explain myself here, but how important is draw cards? So it's basically 1 memory per draw with a pseudo effect that almost never you want to trigger. So you're paying 1 memory per draw. Is 1 memory per draw good? That's something that I asked earlier. And I guess I don't know what the value of 1 memory is. Like, what is 1 memory's unit of value? And that is it 1 draw? Or is it like is it like 2 KDP? I don't know. It's really tough to say. Seems like a solid card though. With that being said, I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5. I don't know. What do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, I would give it three out of five. Definitely, if you play this card outside of certain decks, probably a two or three of.
Then we have Fist of the Peace King. Damn, this card looks cool. While you Digimon with Beelzemon in its name. That's so weird. What? Okay. Have you seen this card to be played in Beels, Sergio?
I didn't even know it had an effect with Diesel.
What? I'm gonna give this card a 1 out of 5. Super cool flavor though. The flavor on this card is crazy.
So what does it do? For 2 costs, it will unsuspend a Leomon or a Beelzemon in its name.
And the security effect doesn't add itself to hand. So
I mean, off the top of my head, like you can in the Beelzemon deck specifically, if you have a turn like a crazy turn with the Black War Gray into a blast mode, swing for two, restand with the Black War Gray,
you mean
swing for two.
Black War Gray or
The
Black War
level
Growl?
Black War Growl, the level five. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Like you swing twice and then do this, swing another time. I mean, very weird card.
I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 5, but the flavor's dope because that deck mills itself. You're probably gonna mill this card. Its security effect doesn't add itself to hand, so it'll trigger at a time that you might not even want it. It's super duper situational. I don't like it. We don't like it. Ooh, a purple option that's 4 cost. I love seeing these sort of things. When this card is trashed, gain 1 memory. Dope. Delete one of your 4 lower Digimon for every 10 cards in your trash. This card's dope. I like it. I like it a lot, specifically in a deck that is trashing often. It has an effect when being trashed, so you don't miss out. It activates insecurity. 3.5 to 4 out of 5.
No, definitely in its own deck is really good. How many times that has been trash and you gain that extra memory you need
Oh,
to
it is.
fuck up
It's
the
just
board.
Nidhogg being. Oh, I mean, 4. I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. We'll go to 4 out of 5. You're not gonna convince me to give this a 5 out of 5. But
No, I'm not gonna say it's a 5 out of 5, but it's definitely good in its own deck. I mean, Nidhogg, you discard the Digimon here. It's like
but
you
it
know
is
you're
but it is a good deletion effect because most of the time purple gets these weird deletion effects where it has to be either suspended or unsuspended or like depending on the level and all this sort of stuff. So it does have its weird requirement as a purple deletion card because purple deletion cards have just in itself weird requirements. But this one specifically says for your trash. So and the cost is roughly okay. You know what? I'm going back to 3.5. I convinced myself 3.5 out of 5.
we'll take it. We'll take it.
We'll take it. And then obviously the last 2 cards are the level 7. So let's get to it. Crimson mode. We know this guy is cracked. Let's see. Delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. So he just fists the board when he comes down. And then when attacking, trash one card from the top of your opponent's security stack. Broken mechanic. Increase the number of cards trashed by this effect by 1 for every 10 cards your opponent's trash. So this is what I was talking about, how the Beals deck just inherently has a bad matchup because you're like shoving a bunch of cards into your trash. And then this guy comes down and he's like, check your entire security for free and then kill you. Yeah, that's kind of sucks. But this card's just good in general. This is a good red level 7. Very cool.
Yeah, what I like about it is that it's not specific to attacking security, so you could clear board, swing at something, and still trash.
That trash effect just happens when attacking. So you can also remember if you have Takato in play this card because he does have a hefty cost, right? So he is a level, he's a 6 cost 2 Digivolve. Takato though does give it Blitz, which makes it much more, it's just good because you'll start at 3, you'll play him, you'll put them to 3. I don't know if there's any card that reduces him. Are there cards that reduce him, Sergio?
When you delete by his effect, depending on how many Takatos you have, you'll gain memory. But
True.
so, I mean, best case scenario, he's coming down for a 2 drop, 2 cost if you have 4 Takatos on board. But most of the time you're just passing turn and swinging this.
Yeah, but he still gets his effect off a Blitz. He's clearing something. So like, let's say they have a suspended Digimon. Your Crimson mode comes down. It's blitzing. You have 1 Takato on board, right? You're blowing up stuff. The Takato will make him now a 5 cost. You're clearing something and you're trashing security. So even in that scenario where you have 1 Takato, he still seems very good for what he does. He will pass turn. He still does the security damage in a way that is, goes around the security RNG, and he does clear board. I mean, I think the card is very, very solid. Nothing left to say but 5 out of 5.
100%. And
And
Galliman being one of my favorites, he's definitely
and the art
a
is just
really good
insane.
art.
Look at all these
Yeah.
wings, man. Oh my god. They weren't able to shove any more wings on this in this card art, were they not? And we'll go here into blast mode just for flavor, just for being purple. This is a 5 out of 5. Totally unbiased. But even his effect is super crazy. So let's get to his effect. When this card is trashed from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 4 lower Digimon. Fantastic. I love it. When Digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. So as opposed to highest DP, now he is a level. Super duper strong. Another black option card that's now been given to a Digimon. And then for every 10 cards in your trash, Digimon gains security +1. I think what makes this guy super duper dope is I think these guys can go into blast mode from your trash, right?
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
would mail him, you would warp into the OG Beelzemon
or into this Beals.
or into that one. I believe it's when you attack. The tamer says when you're attacking.
It's when attacking, yeah. When a Beals is attacking, you can then just digivolve into this for 3 from your trash. So you're cheating him. You're using him in the trash, which is what you want him to do because you want to trash him, delete a card, summon him, and then go slap. So and then he obviously does get that digivolving effect, right? Because if he's going on top of a Beals, you are digivolving, so he does delete things. This card is very, very good. It has very good synergy. Again, if you don't see I and Mako, very, very sad. But there are a lot of cards that can cycle Tamers from the trash and can acquire things back. So, I mean, this deck is heavily, again, like I said, heavily reliant, and I already talked about this deck. But Beelzemon in his deck, the Blast mode, is an absolute powerhouse. Great finisher. Very, very strong. What do you think, Sergio?
100%. In its own deck, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Outside of it, not that good.
Not that good. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this different style of video. I know it's rather long. If you guys stayed for the whole video, God bless you. But with that being said, guys, make sure to check us out. Keep checking out our YouTube channel because we're going to start bringing content back to you for Digimon as well as our Twitch as we're going to start streaming our locals once again very, very soon. Don't quote me on this, but soon. I'm working on it, I swear. And thirdly, thank you guys for being there. I know we took quite a break for Digimon. I know we kind of missed out on all the hype that happened in BT8. It's been an exciting format, and I'm very glad to be part of this community and see where this community goes. So if you guys can just also do me a favor, besides the like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, write a comment down in the comment section of what type of content you guys want. What do you guys want to see in the future come out of us? As we have a ton of content creators at our disposal that can give you guys some excellent top tier content. So with that being said, Sergio, do you have anything you want to add on?
All right. Nothing to add on. And just remember to stay topping.
Hey, topping guys. Take it easy.